This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know that. I know that. We all kind of enjoy in knowing that all at the same times. Anyways, how are you? Welcome to this glorious June the 1st of 2023. Yeah, that's Thursday, just in case you didn't know. Day 152. Did I say 52? Yeah, 152nd of the year, and only 213 days left to go. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio in USA, Canada, UK.
Yes. You know, the stuff that we get to do, the stuff that we get to plan and all that kind of fun stuff. You don't have to worry about that. We're going to take care of you today in regards to sitting back, relaxing, and talking about the stuff that is going on inside of the multiverse, the multiplex, and the multi-areas of things that we get to talk about and do. So don't worry about that. That will all be occurring today. Outside of that, well, hanging out, doing the stuff, talking about the shit that's going on inside of the industry, bringing in some people that know what the hell's going on inside of the world of the news. So, you know, the fun stuff that we get to do. But anyways, as we're starting off everything, why don't we start talking right away about what was trending?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so taking a look around, North Korea botches a missile launch and the pandemic lockdown affected people's perception of time. We'll talk about that. The boss stumbles on stage in the Netherlands, and we can talk about that. Alex Rodriguez reveals that he was on early stage gum disease. Harrison Ford is just fine with his age, and 2 American Pie stars reunite for a DoorDash and more. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, we'll talk about some of the things that are going on inside of our little industry as we get into our main story. And we'll talk about things that, that we won't be doing, So we get to talk a little bit about that, especially being a week out, just to make sure that you know about what we are not doing. So just a little FYI action. Outside of that, the traditional stuff, if you want to take a look at what the hell we have going on, you can go to the different social media platforms, taking a look around and all that kind of fun stuff. Outside of that, we will be bringing in I want to say the safety professionals, but we're not doing that today. We'll be bringing in the professional broadcasters that know what the hell they're talking about. You can take a view at what we're doing at all the different social media streams or going to our websites. Yes, we have 2 available, safetyfm.com, or you can go to radiobig.fm. We do have safety.fm just in case. And you can click on it, take a look around, and click on the section that says visual radio, and that will get you on the vision side. If you want to interact with the show, call-in radio is the best way of doing that. That's callinradio.com. So just a little FYI action in regards of doing messaging, video messaging, and all that kind of stuff. So that's it. That sums it up. What the hell we're going to be doing today. So there you go. You have that. So why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and bring in the professionals that know about what the hell they're talking about, and we get everything going. What do you think? I think it's kind of cool if we decide to do that, opposed to sitting around and just staring at each other, because that can get a little awkward from time to time. Oh, you don't feel that way? You don't feel that it's awkward? Okay, maybe it's me, not you. Oh, I think I've heard that once or twice.
Here is the news on the radio.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. President Biden says the House took a critical step forward Wednesday to prevent a default. In a statement following the chamber's vote to pass a debt ceiling bill, Biden called it a bipartisan compromise. He noted the measure protects critical programs that millions of hardworking families, students, and veterans count on. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is applauding the House's passage of a bipartisan debt ceiling bill.
Tonight, we all made history because this is the biggest cut and savings this Congress has ever voted for.
Following Wednesday's vote, McCarthy said lawmakers did pretty dang good for Americans. The Fiscal Responsibility Act would suspend the nation's debt ceiling for 2 years. It includes non-defense spending cuts and policy provisions. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell tweeted after the vote, "Now it's the Senate's turn to pass this agreement without delay." The deadline to avoid a potential U.S. default is just days away. Former Vice President Mike Pence will announce his 2024 presidential campaign next week. The Hill reports his team is wrapping up plans to launch his campaign for the GOP presidential nomination on June 7th. He joins a growing field of candidates, including former President Trump and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Actor Danny Masterson is guilty of raping 2 women and could get 30 years in prison when sentenced. Brian Shook reports.
On Wednesday, a Los Angeles jury convicted him of forcible rape in the case of 2 women. The jury said it was deadlocked on a charge related to a third accuser. Masterson, who had been free on bail, was led away in handcuffs. The jury deliberated for 7 days before deciding the actor drugged and raped the victims at his Hollywood Hills home 2 decades ago. I'm Brian Shook.
And a man who was a contestant on Family Feud is going to prison after killing his wife during a divorce and custody battle. Timothy Bleefnick was convicted on Wednesday for the murder of Rebecca Postal Bleefnick. He broke into the second-story window of her Illinois home in February and shot her 14 times. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in the UK, I'm John Beaver. The US House of Representatives has passed the debt ceiling bill, which allows the country to borrow more money. It now heads for a vote in the Senate, where it has to be passed before Monday. The Netherlands is investigating the takeover of a Dutch chip maker by a company part-owned by the Chinese government. And North Korea is reaffirming its intention to put a spy satellite into orbit after a failed launch attempt on Wednesday.
Listen to our host
Of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Former President Trump says House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and House Republicans should have forced a default on the nation's debt.
I would have taken the default if you had to get it right. They got something done. Kevin worked very hard. Everybody worked very hard. I mean, there was a lot of good intention. I would have taken a different stance.
Lawmakers voted 314 to 117 on the 99-page measure Wednesday, as the deadline to avoid a potential default is just days away. It still needs to pass in the Democratic-controlled Senate before heading to President Biden's desk. The former president will speak at a conservative group breakfast Thursday morning, then appear on a Fox News town hall with Sean Hannity in the evening. Amazon's video doorbell division, Ring, is agreeing to pay a fine for mishandling customers' videos. The tech giant reached a settlement with the Federal Trade Commission that will see it pay nearly $6 million. The FTC said Ring employees and contractors had unrestricted access to customers' sensitive video data for their own purposes. Ring will now be required to let customers know how much access to their data the company and its contractors have. The NASA panel studying UFO sightings says poor data and the stigma surrounding the topic are hindering it. Trey Thomas reports.
The panel held its first public meeting Wednesday since being formed last year. NASA's science chief said panel members have received online harassment for their involvement in the study. She said the harassment leads to further stigmatization and significantly hinders scientific progress. I'm Trey Thomas.
A Georgia gun shop owner is making an unusual move in response to the recent rash of mass shootings across the U.S. John Waldman says he's closing his shop, Georgia Ballistics, in Duluth. He told 11 Alive too many kids are getting their hands on guns. Waldman says he's a father himself and can't sell guns with a clean conscience. 4 teenagers have been killed in separate shootings across metro Atlanta since last weekend. And Chipotle is giving away free burritos during the NBA Finals. The fast food company announced that every time a player makes a three-pointer, the company will give away 300 free meals. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobile.io. That's mobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, The Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring Safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Oh, I already thought that was pretty enjoyable. What are you talking about? Anyways, here you go. Currently 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Thursday. No, seriously, if it was any lovelier, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. And I kind of already don't know what to do with myself, so I guess that's where it kind of gets interesting. So anyways, let's start talking real quick about some things that are going on inside of the multiverse, because that's what we get to do around here. The North Korean government has botched the launch of what would have been their first spy satellite. State media acknowledged that the rocket lost power between the first and second stage of the thrusters. South Korea announced that it recovered a piece of the rocket and carried the satellite before it crashed into the ocean. North Korea is still a relatively newcomer to space initiatives. It's the first satellite into orbit in 11 years. The official party line is that for surveying and not spying. This is according to Fox News, just in case. The New York Post reports that Kim Jong-un Jr. weighs over 300 pounds and spends nights drinking and smoking. He's estimated to stand about 5 feet 8 inches. Spies say that Junior's cig of choice is American Marlboros, and he has them secretly imported. This is according to the New York Post, and I'm not even sure how in the hell this even became a news story. Like, seriously, how does that even make sense? Think about that for a moment.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, Billy McFarland, the Fire Festival guy. Well, he's inviting 3 companies to hire him to be a consultant for their brand, with some big caveats that make the scheme sound totally legitimate, not at all like a scam. In a tweet, McFarland wrote, "My PYRT ship is almost ready, and it has a room for 3 more brands. To qualify, your brand has to pay him at least $100,000 a month, provide a waterfront house for him and his team, and give him direct access to the brand CEO." It sounds much more to be like a parody, and the accompanying video that he posted sure makes it sound 100% legit, as we are talking about it. Take a listen. Hold on. Let's see if we can find some sound.
This summer, I spent 10 long months in solitary, and I got through every single day by running in place. I would rip a string from my mattress and make a belt for my underwear to tie it together and hold everything up. And now I'm out here running on the beach. There is so much room to build here, guys. All of these plans are coming together. 3 brands, DM me. Let's make this happen.
Yep, it sounds pretty legit to me. Doesn't it sound legit to you as well? I mean, think about it for a moment. 3 more brands. All you have to do is get everything started.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. Anyways, a new study found that COVID-19 lockdowns caused individuals to lose track of time, similar to memory lapses experienced by people who served time in jail. Oh, I guess that was kind of fitting. The study, which was published by the Journal of PLOS One, analyzed responses from 277 participants who were asked to match the events to the years in which they took place, ranging from 2016 to 2022. Major events featured surveys included Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's interview with Oprah Winfrey and the death of George Floyd. There were also questions regarding respondents' mental health. Researchers found that the respondents' ability to recall what had occurred in 2021 to be lacking, with some saying that that happened 3 to 4 years ago prior, and the inability to recall the timeline of the events also correlated with those who reported depression and anxiety, according to a study co-author, Dr. Arash Sahali. Sahali explained that anchoring life events are vital for timelines, and with those being few and far between during the lockdown, the results of the study are similar to those previously reported for prison inmates. This is according to Daily Mail. So what do you think about it? Now, if we're being 100, if we're keeping it 100, which that's what we should be doing at all time, I have a very hard time with timelines in the pandemic. I mean, I kind of remember things going downhill and then saying, oh, it's going to be 2 weeks to make the curve go and all that other horse shit. And man, it was like 2.5 years. I had one friend of mine that was telling me from the very beginning, said, listen, I've been talking to some experts out there, 2 to 3 years. And I was like, you're kidding me. Can't be more than 6 months. Now, 2 to 3 years. I'm telling you. I didn't want to believe him at first, but damn, he was almost spot on when it came to it. Yeah, I really believe that guy has some level of a crystal ball. He swears that he can't predict the future, but I almost believe that he can. Anyways, Air New Zealand has been named the Airline of the Year by the Australia-based rating agency airlinerating.com. The site lists the airline company's beds as one of the major factors in its high ranking, while operational safety, environmental leadership, and staff motivation were also significant factors. In a close second was Qatar Airways, followed by Abu Dhabi's Etihad Airways. The highest ranking U.S.-based airline was Virgin Atlantic at number 7. When considering rankings, airlinerating.com looks at major safety and government audits, airline fleet age, passenger reviews, profitability, investment rating, product offering, and staff relation. This is all according to CNN. Also worth asking, would passengers who are currently being weighed by Air New Zealand in effort to survey average passenger weight also rank them as number 1? I'm just asking the question here, because I don't know if you heard this story, but Air New Zealand is weighing their people for weight distribution inside of the plane. They're not, supposedly you can't see how much you weigh. Supposedly the attendant can't see how much you weigh. It's some kind of factoring system. So I'm just wondering if you get some level of a chair alert that says, hey, this person needs to be somewhere else now. I mean, you're going to kind of know what the hell the point was.
Rated R Safety Show. Sarcastic? Never.
Okay, take a listen to this. 3 teenagers from upstate New York were arrested yesterday in connection to swan napping. Yeah, the crime took place at the village of Manilis, which has been known for their swans for well over 100 years, according to Mayor Paul Warhol. Warhol stated that the swan named Faye was reported missing on Monday along with her babies. After the notice was released, a resident spotted 2 of the baby swans in a store that called the authorities. One of the suspects works at the store and told officers there were other 2 babies that were located as Faye. The suspect said that she had been given relatively to be prepared for dinner. Faye, along with her mate Manny, were gifted to the village in 2010 by biologist and self-described swan guru Michael Bean. So there you go. No, seriously, it was a swan song story. No doubt about that. Anyways, with that being said, talking about swan songs, why don't we do this? Let's bring some John Smalls into our life, as it is 23 minutes past the top of the hour, for him to tell you a little bit about what the hell is going on inside of the world of the market.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Thursday, June 1st, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets pulled back for a second day Wednesday while a resolution to the debt ceiling debate remains elusive. The move was amplified by weakness in the semiconductor sector, correcting after the previous week's surge. The takeaway for tech is that much of the gains expected from AI have been priced in, and investors should look to the next wave of winners. Among those will be tech service companies and hardware manufacturers to support the new technology. The labor data added to Wednesday's woes. The JOLTS report showed a surprise surge in job openings that suggests momentum in the economy. That increases the odds of another Fed interest rate hike, and the odds are already high for another 25 basis points. Economic pressure will continue to build, and more financial institutions will fail. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at MarketBeatMinute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the information of what the hell is going on. What we were able to find on this side of the equation, the Dow lost about 131 points to close at 32,910 on Wednesday. The S&P lost about 25 points to close at 4,180, and the Nasdaq lost about 82 points to close at 12,935. West Texas Intermediate closed at $67 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $72 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.57 on Wednesday, and Bitcoin lost about 2%, trading around $27,000. There was more than 1,820 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Wednesday, and more than 80 such cancellations. Friday night's Mega Million drawing will be for $203 million jackpot, or $104.6 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you still have the opportunity to do so. No, seriously, like you have the opportunity to do so. Why waste time and do anything else? Anyways, as we are inside of the month of June, let's talk about this. June is Pride Month. Michael Kastner reports a little bit more about it.
It's a month to celebrate the LGBTQ plus community and to honor their effort for equal rights. The first Pride marches were organized in 1970, a year after the Stonewall riots in New York City. This after a police crackdown on a gay bar. The idea spread as the years went on, and today there are celebrations in major urban areas around the world. I'm Michael Kastner.
Okay, so there you go. Information on what is going on with Pride Month, just in case you were not aware. Take a listen to this. Governor Pritzker continues to travel around Illinois to promote the proposed state budget. Pritzker made stops yesterday in Springfield and Champaign.
The FY24 budget officially contains the largest percent and largest dollar increase for in-state higher education in more than 20 years.
So there you go. The governor highlighted where he calls key investments, including in early childhood, K through 12 school, higher education, workforce development, and efforts to fight violence and poverty. He will be visiting Fairfield later today. So there you go. Well, I would hope so, because it's relatively early still, regardless on how you take a look at this. So there you go. And that's out of Illinois, just in case. Illinois, in case if you were not aware where we were talking about. Take a listen to this one. We'll talk about this. Some lawmakers in Chicago are reluctantly signing off on funding to address the migrant influx. Alderman Jeanette Taylor got emotional during yesterday's city council meeting, noting that funding is also needed for black communities.
And I'm conflicted because in my heart, I know what's right. I know it's right to want to help other people, because as black people, that's what we do. But when the hell are y'all going to help us?
So there you go. Coming off of the stand there, a divided council ended up approving $51 million in financial aid for migrants in Chicago. So there you go. Also coming out of Chicago, Chicago mayor is speaking publicly for the first time about the violence in the city over the Memorial Day weekend. Brandon Johnson said that the violence was a manifestation of community disinvestment, poverty, trauma, and that our city has struggled with far too long.
Building a safer Chicago means addressing the root causes of crime with a comprehensive and collaborative approach. That means investing in people.
The mayor comments come after about 50 people were shot over the holiday weekend, including 11 who died. I would love to understand that root cause analysis thing that he was referencing, because I would love to know. Anyways, take a listen to this. Just a couple of weeks after being rained out at his rally in Des Moines, Iowa, former President Donald Trump returns. Supporters were waiting.
We love Trump. 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 We love Trump.
The former president will speak at a conservative group breakfast this morning, and then appear on Fox News Town Hall with Sean Hannity later tonight. Some supporters came from as far as Florida, over others a few hours away, to welcome former President Trump to Iowa. Marissa from Omaha, dressed in red, white, and blue clothing, was waving at Trump, sign passing her cars in Des Moines. Many honking back. The former president will speak to the conservative group breakfast at the Unbannable, then appear on Fox News, as I stated, out of Iowa. So there you go. Trump will return to Iowa Saturday along with Governor Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and other 2024 Republican presidential candidates for the Senator Joni Ernst roast and ride fundraising. So there you go. There you go. I don't know. It sounds like an interesting weekend. No doubt about that as we are talking. As we are taking a look-see. Anyways, the state of Iowa is expanding a program to build more wetlands. Take a listen to this.
The Iowa Department of Agriculture and Ducks Unlimited have a new 5-year, $7 million agreement to build more than 60 water quality wetlands and install other practices like oxbows, bioreactors, and saturated buffers. Most will go in the prairie pothole region of northern Iowa where there are freshwater marshes. Ag Secretary Mike Nag says the goal is to filter water and create wildlife habitat. I'm Sue Danielson.
Hello. Thank you, Sue Danielson, for the information there. The stretch of hot, sunny weather could be doing some bad things to the pavement on Iowa highways and interstates. Take a listen.
The concrete pavements are expanding due to the higher temperatures. The other thing that plays into that is usually that happens a lot when the nighttime temperatures don't cool off a whole lot, so that we just continue to build heat up in that pavement.
Chris Brakey with the Iowa Department of Transportation, he says that the heat-related pavement buckling is more likely to happen in older pavement. Brakey says that there's no way to know when or if the pavement will buckle. The Iowa Department of Transportation is keeping an eye for buckling pavement to the state's highways and the interstates caused by this week's heat wave.
It happens on a lot of older pavements over time. The joints that we have cut in the pavements will get filled in, so there's less room for any expansion to occur, thermal expansion.
He says there's no way to know where the pavement will buckle. Hitting the buckled pavement can be seriously damage your car. This week, he could be causing the pavement to buckle in Iowa and on the interstates as well.
Paying really close attention when we do have those really hot extended periods of high temperatures. We can't predict it. We know it probably will start occurring, but we certainly can't predict when, and we can't predict exactly where that will happen either because it's so variable.
Apparently, he really wanted to focus on that. He says the buckles are caused by pavement expanding in the heat, and he has nowhere to go but up. So there you go. Mackey says that the older pavement is more likely to prone to buckling. Now, I want to make reference to this, even though it sounds like a quote-unquote Iowa story. It can happen anywhere in regards of the road going and buckling up in regards of what the hell is going on inside of that situation. So keep that in mind as you are going into some of these hotter states this summer, as we are driving around, taking care of all kinds of stuff. It's just weird sometimes. I will tell you, I was watching a whole thing yesterday about a pool being drained incorrectly and it doing exactly that. Didn't know where the hell everything needed to go, so it popped up out of the ground. This was an in-ground pool. Totally different story. But anyways, with that being said, it is 32 minutes past the top of the hour. So why don't we go ahead and do that thing that we do around, this time. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
You know, I have to tell you, I am so surprised sometimes with some of the things that go on in our industry, and sometimes I'm not surprised at all. Why do I say that? Well, because it felt important to say this. And it feels important from time to time to talk about SOS. And not probably the SOS that we would normally apply to our industry, but really more along the lines of same old shit. Because this seems to be where we're at currently inside of our industry with some of the items. And let's just talk about this. Why do we continue to repeat, do? It's like wash, rinse, wash, rinse, wash, rinse, wash, rinse, wash, rinse. And I just don't get it. Wash, rinse, repeat seems to be the commonality as of late. Listen, I'm going to tell you, I have looked around. I keep on trying to figure out where we go, where we don't go, and all this. And for some reason, we're at that thing again that we started doing right around COVID occurring and repackaging everything again and saying, here is something new. Here is something new. Here's something shiny. Here's something that is going to change the way that you do your work, the way that you conduct business, the way that things are going to happen inside of your organization. And I will tell you, over the last few days, there has been 3 clips of this one guy speaking about the future of safety, talking about how the different aspects of safety are the same thing. And man, I have to tell you, unfortunately, he is not well versed in the conversation. And it almost comes across as asinine in regards of the data that he has. And I look at it and I go, this is supposedly someone that is really supposed to understand what the hell is going on. And it doesn't come across that way. And he has a brand, he's repackaging things and sending him off of saying, hey, let me teach you. If this is what we're looking at, probably not the repackaging you want. The other side of the equation that boils down to popular terms that people are using all of a sudden become packaged with old things. And listen, we can talk about labels, we can talk about environments, we can talk about these different things, but taking someone else's stuff, repackaging it, and saying, let's run with it, that's not originality. That's just ripping somebody else off. Seriously. I've had ideas of doing some very weird things, and I get to the point where I look and go, if you can have the original source material or have somebody else give you the interpretation on how they see it, stick to the source material. Seriously. And listen, I know that everything at some point gets us to certain standpoints, but I just don't understand why we keep on doing the SOS. This is anywhere from us doing new quote unquote information to rehashing old style conferences that do not work. Rinse, wash, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. It doesn't matter what category you put it in. Listen, I understand that it is good to get information to you, but doing same old shit inside of this industry is not going to get us far. Think about it. Think about it for just one moment. If anything, where do you want to go and how are you going to get there? Information is crucial, and some information repackaging, I guess, will be new to someone, but is it really the way that it should be done? That is the stuff to think about as we are talking on this lovely Thursday. Seriously, what in the hell is going on with SOS?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, Your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home. Wow! Awesome!
Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
We all want to make sure that our family is protected in medical emergencies. What many of us don't realize is that health insurance won't always cover the full amount of an emergency medical flight. Even with comprehensive coverage, you could get hit with high deductibles and copays. That's why an Air Medcare Network membership is so important. As a member, if an emergency arises, you won't see a bill for air medical transport when flown by an AMCN provider. Best of all, a membership covers your entire household for as little as $85 a year. AMCN providers are called upon to transport nearly 100,000 patients a year. This is coverage no family should go without. Now, as a Jay Allen Show listener, you'll get up to a $50 e-gift card with a new membership. Simply visit airmedcarenetwork.com/safety and use the offer code SAFETY. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
This one. Follow the river to the edge of the sea. I kissed the water and it made me complete like this one. This one. We experience death in life. We try to fly, we never let go. It's the only way. It's the only way. Broken hearts can love again. Over they go. Over they go. Over they go.
Okay, there you go. 43 minutes past the top of the hour. This is hour number 1 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show, also referred to as the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, this one's called This One. Yeah, no, seriously. And it's by the Spaceys. Songs readily available on Spotify and iTunes, or Apple Music for you, and YouTube Music, of course. You know, we like to play a little bit of everything as we hang out over here. You know, we figured that we would slow down the pace before we get to Freeform Friday, of course. We're just doing SOS today.
It's the only way. Broken hearts can love again.
Okay, thank you to the Spaceys for allowing us to play this here. Now, let's get into it. Let's get into everything that we want to do, because that's going to be important. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about some information that you might want to care about real quick. Now, all joking aside, let me tell you about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. In case if you were wondering, if you're watching the visual portion and going, what the hell is that on Spanish on your shirt? It's the exact same thing that I tell you almost every day, but it's in Spanish. To Write Love on Her Arms, just so you know. So as we are talking about this, I have to tell you about this organization. They are there to help you find help. If you need immediate help, view the 24-hour helplines that are available on their website. All you have to do is go to twloha.com. That's twloha.com. Go to the far right-hand side and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, they are there, no matter what you're facing, to let you know that you deserve to be connected to help. They want you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. That is the important part of this whole equation. So keep that in mind as we are talking. So go to their website, twloha.com. You can click on the section that says Find Help. Listen, there's all kinds of things that people go through, including yours truly, that we all need help and to be connected to others at some point. Seriously. You might not need it today. Somebody else might need it. You never know. It might be a time later down the road. I want to make sure that you have resources that are available to you. twloha.com. Listen, if I went through the norm of what everybody else is doing, we wouldn't talk about it now. Because, the month of May is over, so now we're in Pride Month, so we can't talk about anything else that's related to Mental Health Month, because that's only the month of May. It's not what we do around here. This is the most important topic that I will tell you at any point in my lifetime. I'm not joking. I'm being dead serious as I say that. twloha.com. So there you go. If you're looking, there it is. That's the best way to find out more información about what is going on inside of the world. So let's talk about some things real quick. Should you really lather, rinse, and repeat? Wow, it almost seems like we have a theme going that's not even planned today. Like shampoo bottles tell you, overall experts seem to agree that the single wash will clean most people's hair and scalps properly. But there's also times when multiple shampoos might be beneficial. One says that you'll be okay lathering up once if you're using a decent quality shampoo, but if you're using your hair less frequently or using multiple styling products, you may need to double wash. Because the first wash loosens the dirt and the second one removes it, and it keeps in mind of overwashing your hair can strip the beneficial oils, strip it of its color, and lead to dryness, the split ends, and flakiness. I can tell you that this, if you don't wash twice, you'll shampoo it last twice as long. I'm just throwing that out there, just in case you did not know this. That's how that works. Also, in some other news, a new report says that administering CPR to a cardiac arrest sufferer could cause more harm than good. One physician says, told NPR that the bad experience far outnumbered the good ones when it comes to delivering CPR. Not only is this revival method not successful as portrayed on countless medical dramas, but it can leave patients with lasting physical cognitive impairments, including fractured or cracked ribs, pulmonary hemorrhages, liver lacerations, and broken sternums, and brain damage. And that's when it's done right. And I will tell you that I used to be a CPR trainer, and that news is not news breaking. The cracking of the ribs is something common that occurs because of the amount of pressure that is going on. In some other news, travelers on New Zealand's national airline departing from international flights in Auckland will be required to step on a scale prior to departure, just in case you did not know this. Starting July the 2nd, the program, which Air New Zealand calls Passenger Weight Survey, is a method of gathering data on the weight, load, and distribution for planes. Because weight is a personal thing, the plan is to make the data anonymous. Travelers will be asked to stand on a digital scale when they check in, but the information of their weight will be submitted to a survey without being able to being viewable to the agent screen. But they can still see pretty much naked one's body on their full scanner, so they'll still have a pretty good idea what your weight is. And I hope that you are aware of this. when you do go through those scanners, they're able to see everything you got going on. Now, that is not a joke. I'm telling you what the information is that is going on over there. So there you go. Anyways, take a listen to this. Police in Livingston County under the Undilla Township in Michigan kept a woman for at least 20 years. Oh, hold on. County man kept a woman for at least 20 years younger than him as a prisoner for 5 years before she escaped in 2020. Daryl Lanson of Unadilla Township has been arrested, and the township believes Chief David Russell says it was a shocking case.
This is exactly the poster child case, I guess, for human trafficking. Pretty surprised. We don't expect this kind of thing in a small community like this. It's unusual.
Police say that it took the woman several years before she was able to call the National Human Trafficking Hotline for help when they began investigating him last spring after getting a tip. Lanson is accused of forcing her to perform online sex shows and threatened her if she tried to get away. Unadilla Township Police Chief David Russell says the woman was able to flee after being held for 5 years against her will.
She was able to connect with somebody who was willing to help her, and she coordinated a time to be outside when this person would be outside, and she was able to sneak away from him and get in the car and flee the area.
I mean, what a crazy news story when you think about it. It's just torturous overall, just in regards of the information. Let's stay in Michigan for a moment. A small single-engine plane crashed in Detroit backyard. The pilot was trying to land it on a nearby field yesterday when the crash happened, and Ebony O'Brien says her daughter called her to tell her about it.
I'm thinking she's talking about maybe like a drone or a little remote control plane. I see all these cars, all these police cars, all these fire trucks out here, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I pull up, I pull in the driveway, and I go in the backyard, and it's actually a full-size plane.
No one was hurt and no buildings were damaged as the plane landed between two garages. It happened in the 12,100 block of Dutchess Street. So just for information purposes, if you are in that area. So there you go. Take a listen to this one real quick. Former President Trump White House aides are being subpoenaed over the firing of a top election security official. Brian Shook has more information.
Trump fired his cybersecurity chief, Christopher Krebs, in November 2020 after the presidential election. It came days after Krebs went against Trump's false election fraud claims. In a statement describing the election as one of the most secure in American history, Trump called Krebs' statement at the time highly inaccurate on Twitter, writing that he was fired immediately. I'm Brian Shook.
Okay, thank you for the Twitter information of what the hell is going on over there. That is for sure. Thank you for the info. Take a listen to this real quick. A man is dead after he was hit in the Bronx Wednesday afternoon while walking on a fast-moving highway. Andrew Whitman has more.
It happened on the southbound Hutchinson River Parkway just before 1 p.m. A 73-year-old man was walking, police say, in traffic in the right-hand lane. A 24-year-old man driving a pickup truck hit the pedestrian, throwing him into the shoulder. The pedestrian died at a hospital, likely from chest trauma. The guy in the pickup stayed for police. No charges have been filed. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Andrew Whitman, for the information right there. Take a listen to this one. The Atlantic hurricane season officially starts Thursday. Mark Mayfield fills us in.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is forecasting 12 to 17 named storms, with 5 to 9 of those becoming hurricanes. The National Hurricane Center says a system in the eastern Gulf of Mexico has a low chance of becoming the season's first hurricane. The Atlantic hurricane season lasts until the end of November. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, thank you, Mark Mayfield, for the information right there on what is going on. Anyways, after that news, let's go ahead and bring in some John Smalls and let him tell us about what the hell is going on inside of the world of the market.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Trevor. Michael Jordan said, "Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid to not try. What a great quote. I recently watched the movie about Michael Jordan's deal with Nike. Now, I'm not sure how much of that is true. I'm always skeptical of the phrase based on a true story, because that pretty much gives them flexibility to do whatever they want. But I loved the story, and I was amazed at just how little Michael Jordan himself was even involved in any of that, at least according to the movie. It was more about his mother and about a guy at Nike who just wouldn't give up. He had a vision and was not afraid to fail, but he would not give up without trying. The rest, as they say, is history. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlysaMorgan.com. If one of your goals includes increasing muscle mass, there are a few things that seem to work well across the board and are scientifically supported. One important nutrient to have in your system for optimal muscle growth is salt. It's imperative because nerve cells communicate with muscles via electricity, and ions from sodium is what enhances this communication. Salt, potassium, and magnesium are essential to have in one's system during the period of muscle gain. Also, creatine. Based on 66 studies, it has been shown to enhance the result of workouts, and it carries cognitive benefits due to its impact on neurons. Creatine increases your body's ability to hydrate, and it has also been shown to reduce fatigue. As always, please remember to consult with your physician before starting any supplements. For more, check out AlysaMorgan.com.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Oh, you know how this goes. It's all about self-implosion, because that's what that is the name of the game for sure, as we are talking. Anyways, 56 minutes past the top of the hour as we're looking at dates of things that happened back on this day. Let's talk about this. In 2017, President Donald Trump withdraws from the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement. He felt that the agreement undermined the U.S. economy and put the country at permanent disadvantage. Trump's decision was backed by many Republicans and strongly opposed by the Democrats. A formal notice would follow 2 years later. So there you go. Anyways, taking a look around at some birthdays for today. Chase Chrisley and Tom Holland both turned 27. Javier Hernandez turns 35. Nick Young, 38. Amy Schwimmer turns 42. Sarah Wayne Callies turns 46. Alanis Morissette turns 49. Heidi Klum turns 50. Terry Polo, 54. Brian Cox, 77. And Morgan Freeman, well, he turns 86 today. If you're also taking a look at some people that passed away, but, would have celebrated a birthday today, Marilyn Monroe's birthday would be today. Just a little FYI action right there. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those for you. I have quite a few. It's Dinosaur Day, National Olive Day, World Reef Awareness Day, Wear a Dress Day, National Nail Polish Day, National Hazelnut Cake Day, Pen Pal Day, Global Day of Parents, World Milk Day, National Go Barefoot Day, International Tabletop Day, and National Say Something Nice Day. I'll have to try that one out, see how it works out for me. Anyways, if you need a random joke for today, I do have one of those for you. I hate when someone rings my doorbell because I have to drop whatever I'm doing to be quiet and pretend I'm not home. If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. What topic could you easily spend hours talking about? If you need something for the water cooler, try this. Question. In a survey asking what perks people would like from their ideal job, the top 3 respondents were health insurance, life insurance, and this. What is this? It's actually a gym membership, just so you know. Anyways, thanks for hanging out. At the top of the hour, I will be going over exclusively to RadioBig.fm if you want to come and hang out on our different apps that we have available. Radio Big app, iHeartRadio app, TuneIn app. Of course, we can do it all there. Or you can just go to RadioBig.fm. Or you can hang out here and take a listen to what Sheldon Primus has to say and the Safety Consultant Show. Thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. Words can inspire, thoughts can provoke, but only action truly brings you closer to your dreams. Think about that. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, J.